Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to, well, I guess it would be welcome back to our birth vlog because we did like a partial birth vlog. You guys got to see Camille's grand entrance and here she is.
She was just grinning.
But you guys, I've gotten a couple of questions about the birth and how things may have been different between her birth story and Ash's, so I will tell you guys all about it. Nick is here to fill in the details after I got my drugs. So our cousin Kim from B&K Vlogs, they came over for Halloween because they were gonna have their little girl like the next day, and so they were like, oh, you look like you're gonna have this baby soon. And I was like, no, but I'm thinking it's going to be the same week because I was feeling the contractions. I was feeling very tired and everything. And I was like, probably Friday. Wednesday, I started having like active contractions. And I was like, ooh, what is going on here? So I just kind of put it out of my head because I was like, nope, not having this baby today. Not ready yet. Still got stuff to do. But I told Nick, you know, hey, I'm having contractions, a little bit different than the Braxton Hicks, but you know, the timing was still far apart. Thursday, I was still having really strong contractions, and I let Nick know, like, hey, you might not want to go to work today. I'm really
yeah, you told me that the night before. You were like, I think you might want to be on standby, so you might not want to go tomorrow. So I just went ahead and let them know I was taking a sick day. And we had that appointment.
Yeah, we had a doctor's appointment that day too. So, so we went to our doctor's appointment, and she said I was like 3 centimeters dilated, but that wasn't, you know, alarming or anything because you can be super dilated. But when she told me I was about like 50% effaced, I was like, oh, so I have a little bit of wiggle room, but not much. So my plan was to come home and just do mostly nothing, you know, just to kind of wait it out. Nick really didn't want to have the baby that week, so he was like, hey, I got a weekend off. We can try to get some stuff done this weekend if we don't have the baby. we came home, and I mean, the contractions just kept coming, and I was putting it off until I spoke to my niece. It was my niece's birthday, and the entire time I was on a video call with her, I was having a contraction. I was like sweating profusely. It was just like, okay, my Ash was like trying to hold a conversation with his other cousin, and I'm like, dude, I'm like gripping the sofa. Was like, you know, these are strong. So I laid down to time it, and I think they were at that point like 5 minutes apart.
Yeah.
They were about 5 or 6 minutes apart. And I was like, you know what? We already had a go plan where Ash was gonna go to my mom's, and then from there he'd go with his cousins. And so I was like, I had already told them, like, hey, be on standby because I'm having contractions. Yeah, girl, we talking about how you got here. And so, anywho, we called the nurse's hotline. She was saying that it didn't really seem like they were close. I want to say by the time I called, I was like 3 minutes. They were like 3 minutes apart, averaging. Not really consistently 3 minutes apart, but about. So Nick and I were like, okay, what do we do? We hopped in the car. Nick packed up the car, y'all. It was the funniest thing. I'm taking my time, you know, because I'm like, I want to make sure everything's in the car. I want to make sure we have everything for Ash. Nick is like literally running back and forth, throwing stuff in the car, just like, let's go. Why are you not in the car yet? Like everything. It was the funniest thing. I really wish we could have recorded that because he was losing it. Because he was like, why are you not moving? I was like, dude, it's not going to happen right now.
The way you were acting and the way you were having no contractions, it looked like we was about to have that baby. I was like, we ain't having no baby in no streets. I don't know nothing about birthing no babies.
I don't know nothing about birthing babies.
I ain't trying to have no baby birthed in this car.
Oh, God, no.
I was like, no, this ain't happening.
We couldn't get we wouldn't be able to resell it. Fast forward, we decided to go ahead and go to the hospital because my contractions were just really consistent, and we don't live that close to our preferred hospital.
Nope.
So we got down there, and y'all, intake took forever. Like, y'all saw the video. We waited for an hour there. We waited for over an hour in triage. Everything just took forever. So when we finally got in the labor and delivery room, I had asked someone to make me a playlist.
I don't know who's supposed to make that playlist. It's crazy.
So,
Spotify's got playlists. Spotify already had playlists for baby having.
So I was interested in mostly like gospel music just to get me through. Because y'all, those contractions were terrible. But we had a birth plan. So it was pretty much the same birth plan with Ash, because I didn't know if we were having a boy or a girl. So everything pretty much stayed the same. This time though, I didn't do Pitocin, which thank God, because Pitocin, although it speeds up your labor, those contractions come at you hard and fast when you do Pitocin. So I was like, no thank you. I'll just work my way up to it. And a friend of mine, she sent me a video of the mile circuit, and I was doing a lot of those exercises as well to kind of push baby farther down. And I also did a lot of diaphragm breathing, or whatever it's called, like the
floor breathing.
Yeah, like with your pelvic floor, like pushing down on just your pelvic floor and breathing out. And Nick would remind me not to tense up and stuff, so that part was fun, because Nick would be like, that's not how you do it. And ordinarily I would snap at him, but I was like, he's trying to help me. Our first midwife was amazing. She was very sweet. She let me labor how I wanted to labor, which was awesome, because with Ash, I was on intermittent monitoring. So because my water broke with him, they had me an hour in bed for monitoring and an hour where I could freely move. And this time I got to choose when I sat down. I got to choose when I sat down, and it was only for 20 minutes. So I only had to be in bed for 20 minutes, which was amazing. And I didn't even have to stay that entire 20. As long as they could read the contractions, then I could get up and go. And that helped tremendously. Another thing I did was labor on the toilet. And that sounds disgusting, but that squatted position, squatted is a word, right? That's we're both sleep deprived, so if those aren't words, y'all know what we mean. That position helps to also bring baby farther down. It relaxes a lot of muscles down. Obviously it relaxes those muscles because when you're on the toilet, but it relaxes those muscles to kind of help baby get down, but it relaxes some muscles a little too much. So I did have to call Nick to come in and help me a couple times with that as well.
You've gotten closer since those times.
When my contractions got worse, they offered me an IV, medicine through IV. So that was on our birth plan, that would be okay. The medicine does take the edge off in the IV, but you have to get more doses. And the drug that they used was fentanyl. And
which surprised me. I was like, whoa, what are we doing?
He was like, are you sure you want to take that? And I was like, are you sure you don't want me to take? Because I was having a time. But anywho, Yeah, I can see why people get addicted to it. But when they first put it in my IV, they tell you you're gonna feel lightheaded. Like, I don't know what it is, but you do. Like, you definitely feel like you should be sitting down. But I didn't want to keep doing that. I didn't want to have to keep asking for doses of fentanyl. And so I did one round of that, and then I was like, what about that epidural?
Yeah, because the only reason you took that fentanyl was because they didn't have the anesthesiologist
ready.
Like, he wasn't where he needed to be at that time. So
yeah, I think he was already with a patient.
Yeah, because they had to rush a lady in to do a C-section.
Oh yeah.
So he was
always
with them.
Fun. It's always something with me.
Yep.
Last time was a lady having twins.
Mm-hmm. So they were like, we had to do an emergency C-section, so he was with them.
And our nurse was with her too.
Yeah. So that's why it didn't. Oh, and the other thing was the nurse was unavailable, so another nurse came in after we had already told the people at the desk across from our hall, across the hall, we need the epidural. Can we get the epidural? They said, okay, cool. Then nothing happened. I come back, I said, hey, we need somebody to get the epidural. They said, okay, your nurse is with somebody else. Then another nurse came in and said, hey, I'm filling in for your nurse. And then she proceeds to do checks on Whitney to see what her contractions are and stuff. And then left. And I'm like, okay, well, she's checking stuff, and then she's going to go get the epidural.
And like 20 minutes goes by.
And we like, what's going on? So I was like, I'm going to see. And when I asked her, she's sitting at the desk across the hall just chilling. And she was like, oh, I am so sorry. I didn't know.
Oh, so like what led up to the epidural wasn't just the pain, because of course childbirth is like, that's an excruciating pain. But again, throwing up, that is, I can't stand that. I don't know. I mean, people obviously can, and their bodies can take a lot of pain. When I'm in a lot of pain, I throw up. So what, and I don't like to throw up, so I don't like to be in a lot of pain either. So, yeah, I was throwing up. This guy was asleep, and he was like, I thought you were throwing up. Like, it was the next day. He was like, I thought I heard you throwing up, but I wasn't sure. Because the new nurse came in, and I was like, hey, I feel like I'm going to throw up. Can I get a bag or something? She was like, yeah, sure. And as soon as she brought me that bag, y'all, I just, like, went to town. It was unbelievable. But yeah, so the epidural part, I got an epidural with Ash, and it was amazing. You know, once I got my epidural, 20 minutes later, I started pushing with him. Took a 20-minute nap, and he was coming. This time though, my epidural was way too strong.
Mm-hmm.
They the anesthesiologist came in, they hooked me up to the monitor and did all the things, and they had it on like a 10. I didn't even know it went up that high. I didn't know there were numbers.
It was like he maxed it out. I think that was the max. He maxed it out.
I couldn't feel,
I don't know why,
anything.
And then it was like, oh, you wanted it less than that?
Yeah,
we could turn it down.
I had to ask them, and so I had to wait for the anesthesiologist to come back to the room, because only they can turn down the pump. So, yeah.
Only thing I could think of is you'd rather want to go higher than lower, because then you just keep coming back, upping it over and over again.
But that's the thing, they give you a little push pin for extra doses.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And I never needed it because they maxed me out. Like, I couldn't feel my toes. I couldn't feel anything. And they asked me the dumbest question, are you sure? I'm like, didn't I just call y'all to come back in here? Why would I not be sure? And then he said, well, why do you want it lower? But I mean, it's a man, so he's never given birth. So obviously he's like, why do you want to feel pain? And I'm like, well, I can't feel anything. So
I kind of need to feel something.
yeah, and the nurse was able to help, like, verbalize it, because clearly I was loopy, and she was like, well, she probably wants to know when to push.
Like, I'm sitting here like a floating head, and you asking me why I want to feel something.
So yeah, so they lowered it, thank God, and I was able to, get some sort of sensation back. And by then, I want to say it was like 3 a.m.
It was something, I don't know.
3 or 4 in the morning. So it was some ungodly hour. And I was able to fall asleep a little bit because, nurses are coming in and out. So a few hours later, because that is how long it took for a lot of that medicine to leave my body, I started to feel the urge to push. And so they called in the new midwife, and she had already come in and introduced herself because my midwife left like 2 hours before I gave birth. So the new lady came in and introduced herself. She was pretty old school. I don't think she really read much of my plan. So the things that were off the table were my choice in pushing position because of the epidural, which again, I still think I could have done. Like, even though I could not feel my legs, I feel like this guy could have helped me. He could have supported me.
That would have been dead weight though. Dead weight.
I would have tried my hardest to, because if you guys have ever seen one of the beds, it will transform into whatever you want it to. And there's a bar that you can pull up, and it can be a squat bar. And you can also, that position and the throne position. But the squat position and the throne position were the two positions that I wanted to give birth in. I did not want to be on my back again, just because it's just not optimal. But anyway, so fast forward 2 hours, a lot of the epidural had worn off, and I was able to start to feel the urge to push. And again, all of our staff with our insurance were pretty much still with the C-section lady. So it was
the midwife, one nurse, and me.
Yeah, that was it. And they tried to bring a student in, but y'all, I put no students on my birth plan. I'm sorry to the students who need to practice, but we not practicing on me. I need some people who've been in the game. They asked Nick, and Nick was like, yeah, shoot, I'll do it. I'll help.
Yeah, I was ready. I was like, whatever I gotta do, let's do it. And she was like, just hold this leg over here.
Yeah, I couldn't feel nothing. My legs were like...
Yeah, those some heavy legs when there ain't no feeling in them. It was like... it's just it's body parts. I don't see how people be doing all that when they be like chopping people up and throwing them away like it's nothing. Those some heavy body parts when they dead weight. I'm just saying, ain't nothing about being fat. I'm just saying, if I went dead weight and then just laid on you, you'd see what I mean. Let me see you move me around.
Wow, you think you know somebody. You think you know somebody. Boy, I said, have a kid with somebody, you'll get to know them. Hey.
Yo.
That. Jeez. So anywho, Nick was holding my leg, and let's see. That's where it gets a little fuzzy, because I could remember the lady telling me on my next contraction to push, but again, I do the breathing exercises. I'm gonna have Nick link it in there because there's a video to it, and you pretty much, even like if Nick had seen the video, he would have been the person to count for me versus the doctor count or the midwife counting for me, because it's a little bit different. Like, they want you to hold your breath, like catch some air, hold it and push. Whereas the breathing your baby out, you're pushing on your pelvic floor, but you also are breathing out. And that helps you to, one, not tear, but two, get your baby out without raising their heart rate. So that's what it says. I don't know if it actually does that, but I have not torn with either child, and the heart rate has stayed consistent. So I think it works. But anyway, she would count, tell me to hold my breath. I obviously did not do that. But with like a couple of pushes, she was here. I would say Nick was looking.
Yeah, I look. Like, unlike some people, Brandon, If y'all, I'm gonna link Brandon's video, Brandon and Kim video. You gotta see it.
They have the
Oh my
sweetest birth vlog.
So funny.
But so funny.
So funny.
They are so silly.
But Brandon's like, I can't. I couldn't look down there. Like last time I looked down there, I almost passed out.
But look, hold on now. Nick ain't looking. Nick is.
I'm strategically looking.
He
I'm not
taking-
staring.
He taking
I'm looking.
glances.
I'm holding legs and I'm looking. I'm like, okay,
He
we
only
getting there. We getting
glanced-
it. We
He
getting
only
there.
glanced when they were saying like pivotal things, like here's the head.
No, because before that, I was trying to see where we were at, and I'm like, is the head out yet? I looked, I was like, okay, we getting there. And then you pushed, and then she was like, the head coming. I looked, I was like, oh, there's the head.
Yeah, he was.
I was in there.
He was super excited.
I was in there.
Like, that's the head. Like, it was so fun. Whatever the midwife was saying, Nick would say, and it was just so funny to me. But,
I think I caught it in video. I'm pretty sure I did because I recorded everything from the beginning of the labor, like beginning of the delivery to the end, and it was something. It was something else.
It was something.
I was like, oh, this is awesome.
But
And
but
then
yeah.
we found out it was a girl.
Yeah, you guys, like it was really overwhelming at that point because I honestly did not know what we were having. A lot of people were like, it's a boy because I was carrying low. And I was just like, am I carrying low or am I short?
Yeah.
It was one of those things where it could have gone either way.
I felt like you were carrying low though. Like that baby was dropping.
Well,
That baby
the
was
baby
do-do-do-do.
drops, but like initially.
Oh, well no, you didn't carry low to me. It
I
just
don't
seemed
know
like
what that
over
means.
time the baby got lower as it would. So that was what I saw.
But we didn't know, and I didn't know Nick had that secret anxiety that he thought it was a boy. But
No, it wasn't that I thought it was a boy. It was I was worried it could be because it's 50-50. I was like, this is the last time we doing this.
yes.
If it's a boy, it was gonna be pretty devastating because I really wanted a girl, and I was like, this is gonna suck. Like it's not gonna suck because I'm gonna be happy either way, but it's gonna be a mourning because I've
Yeah.
been wanting a girl. Like
I
we've been
will
talking
say
about
that-
girls all the time.
and it's a-okay for you to like grieve that. Like if you if you didn't get the sex that you wanted, I think it's okay. And I mean that probably would have happened to me too. I probably would have been like, but then I would have got to keep my doll.
Yeah.
But now Camille gets to keep the doll. But yeah, so after that, it all gets foggy because once you push the baby out, they give you the baby, so you don't really notice the stuff that they're working on. So
I never do. I don't even know when the afterbirth came out because I never seen it. For all I know, you got 2 sets of afterbirth still in you because I've
I
never
hope not.
I've never seen afterbirth. I don't know how they did that Houdini trick.
But anyway, they tell you.
I don't know.
They tell you, and the placenta came out, and it was
They told?
intact. Yeah.
I don't even remember them. All I remember both times is them asking us, did we want to keep it?
No,
Did we
because
want to
by
do something with it?
then, the tech came in. So it was the tech, the midwife, and because the tech is the person who does some of the vitals on the baby. But since my hospital does the golden hour first, they just kind of float on in there. And she was just there to take note because they have to, note if the placenta is intact or if it comes out in pieces and whatnot. And
Ooh, Lord.
note the bleeding. And then they say other stuff to you. But again,
All them hormones and endorphins and all that
I
stuff
have
shooting
no clue
all
what
over
they
the
said.
place.
I remember from the video that she said something about an ice pack. I
Yeah,
promise
like
you,
she said,
I didn't even
all
feel it.
we gonna do is slap an ice pack down there. You did good, mama. She was like, you did really good. Ain't no tearing. You did good. And then
try that breathing though. Like that breathing, you guys. I
it seemed
promise
like it
you.
worked to me.
I promise you, it helps. Like if you've torn before, I'm sure you would try anything, anything to not tear. So try that.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this video, guys. Definitely join us for our postpartum talks. I cannot wait. I'm gonna, I'm gonna get some opinions from other moms and dads so we can share them here from their postpartum perspective, because dads have postpartum perspectives too.
We sure do.
So I think you guys look at the little scrunch.
Oh,
Oh, look at this scrunch.
She's like, leave me alone.
Yes, I mess with her all the time.
But we thank y'all for watching. We appreciate all the support. We got a ton of new followers. We got a ton of new subscribers from that birth video, which I was not expecting. So thank y'all for everybody that commented, that liked the video, because we had like 90 something likes on that video. It's crazy. And so hopefully things just keep going onward and upward. Stay tuned for the postpartum video. And
What does she do? She's like literally trying to roll.
and we'll see y'all in the next one.
Bye, guys.